harder as far as recruiting purposes go for a small D1 school to recruit a guy as opposed to Alabama, LSU, and Deion Sanders went into that a couple of weeks ago about the about his recruiting process. But I think that as a whole, the recruiting process, it just is what it is because there's so many colleges. But I think it's a lot harder, I think, for a football program to compete at that level as is for a basketball program because, basketball, the physicality of football takes over, I think, more in basketball. That's why I think it's a little bit easier in basketball, and you have to really kind of TCU played great this year. And I think you really, really have to play great to overcome some of these big schools.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. I mean, like we said, no 5-star recruits on TCU. Unbelievable, right? And now they're playing for a championship next Monday night. I mean, I can't wait to see the odds. I haven't seen them yet. I'm sure.
Deion Sanders, Deion's Lance. I'm sorry, your son's chiming in here. He makes a very good point. It's the Deion Sanders effect, man. Deion Sanders is doing such great things for college football, and I don't know if anybody's mad at him for leaving his school and going to, Colorado. He's bringing his top recruit with him, and he's bringing his son with him. He said a couple of years ago, "I'm getting into this game to better the performance and better the chances of my son to play in the NFL." He didn't say, "I'm going to be there for 10 years." He said he's going to better the program, get exposure, and if a team comes calling, a D1 program that I can turn around, I'm going, and I'm doing it for my son, and I'm doing it for for the players. He put a lot of exposure down there, to those schools, and a lot of these guys are going to be watching. So the Deion Sanders effect, you're absolutely right, Ben. That's exactly what it is, and I'm telling you, that's going to come into effect for a long time because Deion Sanders wasn't your run-of-the-mill guy. He's a very boisterous, outspoken guy, and he was I think one of the greatest cornerback ever to put on a pair of cleats, and one of the best and fastest ever to play the game. So people are going to listen to Deion Sanders.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like we looked about a couple of weeks ago, we saw that Colorado had some rough times, giving up like 50 points a game and stuff. But I think Deion Sanders is bringing some of these kids now, and I think
in 2 or 3 years
to get a bowl game now and stuff, maybe even challenge for a national championship.
Colorado might be playing. Listen, Colorado's going to be playing in that field of 12, I think, very soon. Give him 2 or 3 years maybe to start building that program back up again, and you're going to see Colorado's going to be in that deep. They're going to be in that field of 12. I think eventually you're going to see that it's going to be all Deion Sanders. It's because we were talking yesterday. I was talking to my buddy Joe yesterday about the effect that coaching has. Now, we're going to go into the NFL in a couple of minutes, but I think there's a team in the NFL that is a perfect example of what coaching does to a franchise. Because, Cousin Joe, you got a guy out there in Dayball who pretty much has the same exact football team that he had last year. Giant fans would know a little bit better than me who came and go, but for the most part, it's the same exact team. And Dayball came in there and changed the entire thing. And they're playing for the guy, and I think that's, again, coaching in football, I think out of the 4 major sports, if you have a good coach, a good motivator, it completely turns a franchise around. And I think Deion Sanders' effect is going to be the same thing, kind of like what Daboll did for the Giants in the NFL.
No doubt about it. It's crazy how these motivators, and then you have coaches that just go in. Remember when these guys went to, what's his name, who went to Jacksonville? I forget the name offhand and stuff. But,
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer. Yeah. So these college coaches come to, and they can't even do it, and stuff. But in college, it's just so fascinating. You think Deion Sanders will go to the NFL one day, Rich?
No. You know what? I don't. I really don't. You know why? Because I think Deion Sanders has money. So he's not going to be going for that big contract. He's not going to say go to the NFL to get a $10 million a year contract. And I'm watching this show too. He's got, Coach Prime. He's got this show on Amazon. I get into certain athletes, and then I just get obsessed with them. And I've been obsessing over Deion Sanders over the last couple of weeks. I was obsessing over Tyson for a couple of weeks. Now I'm obsessing over Deion Sanders. I don't think he's going to go to the NFL. Listen, I could be wrong. I don't know the guy, but I think Deion Sanders is a guy who wants to mold young minds and wants to bring the college players. He wants to rally around college players. He probably could coach in the NFL, but I think a guy like him is best suited for the NCAA because he's molding young minds, and they need that right now. They need a coach to go in there and tell these kids they can do it. And I think I don't think he's going to go to the NFL just for that fact. I think that he's going to stay down in the NCAA because he likes the fact that he's teaching he's teaching these young kids. Not only does he preach football, but on the other hand, too, he also preaches family. Be a good guy. He preaches that. And listen, you're an NFL coach. You don't want to tell somebody like Aaron Donald if he beats somebody up in a bar that just to be a good guy. Fuck you, coach. But these college kids, they'll listen to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt about it, Rich. And